Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Wed to the Dread. Oh my gosh, that's loud. I think my eardrums are bleeding. That was my bad. I turned it up when I was testing it. Headphones are working.
I was like, oh, okay. We're live. Okay.
We're live, everybody.
Hey, it's us.
Spooky State Series Iowa episode.
Iowa.
Yes. I don't know much about Iowa as a state.
Corn.
I had a friend who's from there in law school.
Oh, okay.
Brian's family was from Iowa.
What? Okay.
They're from a family of doctors, Iowa doctors.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Good for them. Shout out to Iowa doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Okay.
The one thing I do want to do in Iowa that I know that has nothing to do with ghost spookiness is that apparently there's a bike ride you can do. What's it called? Where you ride across the whole state.
I have no idea.
Someone Karen Nate did.
I thought that was across Colorado.
No, it was across Iowa.
Okay.
It's like a 4 or 5 day thing where you camp in the nights and then you ride in this, like a big traveling, not a circus, but like a party. It's like a traveling party, bike party.
Ragbri.
Yes, Ragbri. Yes. You remember the name? Yeah, that's Iowa. That's not, it wasn't Colorado.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also rode across the U.S. So
yeah. Ragbri.
Yeah.
Cool. Cool.
I do want to do that. That'd be fun. It'd be fun to do with family.
Yeah. Stay tuned. Next episode, we're going to
do Ragbri.
We're going to ride across.
Right across Iowa.
Iowa on our bikes. Oh, boy. Okay. Yes. Let me get my situation set up here. You have how many?
I have one today.
One today. I have 2.
Okay.
So should I start?
Yeah, you can start, and then me, and then you. Yeah,
okay.
Mine, I think it'll be long enough to fill.
I'm sure no one's going to be upset
Everyone's
if it's too short.
Everybody's going to be upset.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is more of like a tale. Oh, I don't know. I'll just share it. This one is from my haunted series, spooky books.
Okay.
I forget the name, but it's the book that I reference every single episode, and this one's from that one.
All right.
It is about a woman named Lucinda.
Okay. Lucinda.
Yeah. This takes place 8 miles north of Burlington, Iowa, near the Mississippi River.
Okay. I know exactly where that is.
Yeah. If you could just visualize Iowa in your head.
It's somewhere in there.
There. Got it. Okay. 8 miles.
8 miles.
Okay. It's called, it's on Stoney Hollow Road.
It's a good name for a road.
Yeah. So this road, if you picture it, it's like windy and trees, like very forested, spooky.
Okay. Kind of like you're going up the mountain.
Ooh. I don't know.
Mount Lemony.
Maybe.
We'll say yes.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe. Just picture that.
I'm picturing it.
Okay. And this takes place in the 1800s, the story.
Oh, okay.
So there was a woman, Lucinda, in the early 1800s was planning to meet her lover under the moonlight. And they were going to go and run away together and elope.
Basically a crime back then.
They were like, yeah. Lucinda was like, oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Our set is crashing down on us.
Falling apart. Okay.
We're good. Okay. Anyways, Lucinda. So she was supposed to meet her lover there. And they had this plan that I'll meet you at whatever o'clock, midnight, at this particular location, and then we'll run away together. So time comes, Lucinda's there, and then she's waiting, and she's waiting. And the boyfriend stands her up.
I can't believe that.
Oh my God, what a jerk. Anyways, she's devastated. This man has clearly left her for another woman.
Clearly.
Or at least doesn't want to marry her. So screw that guy. Anyways, poor Lucinda. She, after many hours of this guy not showing up, she ends up like climbing up to like a nearby cliff on the side of the road and jumps to her death.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Can you imagine rural Iowa in the 1800s? It can't full of tons of options.
Yeah.
So you just feel like, no.
Like the dating pool.
The dating pool is very shallow
in
in rural Iowa in the 1800s.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And he's still like, nope, you're not the one.
Yeah. What a jerk.
What a jerk.
Or was he? Turns out he was intending to meet her and he was on the way and his wagon wheel got stuck in the mud. for
when that
hours.
happens. I hate when that happens.
Damn wagon wheels. So anyways, he several hours late, he does show up and unfortunately just finds her dead.
Oh, it's like Romeo and Juliet status. Does he kill himself? Oh, I won't.
I don't think so.
Okay.
He's like, bummer.
Damn.
Okay. This is a sad story, Joe. Take it seriously.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, so now this is like a famous story. And so now people will go there and they'll visit the cliffside for when she jumped off. And like people have visited so much, there's like now kind of like a turnaround, like a car. They made like a parking lot.
Oh, so you like go there and you like look at the location?
No, you go there to go and find her ghost. This is how like famous she is. So apparently she appears like quite frequently in period clothing at night. Full moon is when you'll see her the most, but she's there so frequently that people go and try to like see her. And people do like see her very clearly and recognize her. But if you don't like see her, they often experience like car trouble or hear disembodied voices, things like that. But when you do see her, she's dressed in period clothing and she's covered in blood.
Oh.
And she carries a rose.
Oh, that's very spooky.
Right? And sometimes she'll approach you. Like this is how clear this is. She'll approach you and it said if she places the rose like at your feet or like gives you the rose.
It doesn't sound like a good omen.
You're going to die in the next 2 days.
Oh, like a ring situation.
Well, that's 7.
Well, close enough. 7 too.
So yeah, apparently that's what happens. When I was reading this in this book, there were 2 different like firsthand accounts that the author got from 2 different people. One is a man, one is a woman. And apparently they're very different experiences that they have with Lucinda.
Really?
Yeah. So first I'll describe what the man saw in this book. He said he didn't explicitly see her face, but he saw, like he was with another friend, they saw like a bright light, like within the tree covered road. Like it was at night, but they saw some sort of bright light, coming from nearby the road. He said he didn't feel fearful, but it was more of like a comforting or like a protective way that he felt. Okay. Like very welcoming. And his, like I said, the friend saw the same exact thing and had the same exact feeling. But both of these guys were skeptics. So they're like, this is clearly just like a weird reflection of the moon off like some rock in the middle of the road or something. Like there's got to be some like flat surface where this thing is reflecting off of. But anyways, they went back in the daytime to the same place just to like confirm what happened. And apparently they didn't find any explanation for that light. Like there was no boulder like they thought that there was no big or small rocks in that spot. And so to this day, they have no idea like what that was or what that feeling was that they felt.
But it was like right by there at night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's spooky. I thought it'd be much more negative. I thought. Okay.
Well, the second firsthand account that this author tells us about is from a woman and her friends. They were seeking out Lucinda. So they went there and at first they saw nothing. They like get out in the parking lot or whatever is there. And they're like looking around for her and they don't see anything. So eventually they just give up and they get back in the car. So they get back into the car. Their friend puts it in drive and turns the car on. And then they start rolling backwards. This is on a completely flat surface, by the way. Okay. So it doesn't make any sense that if your car is in park that you'd be rolling backwards. Then she tried to like stop the car, but it just kept accelerating backwards.
Oh, crazy.
And her brakes were not working at all.
So like the car was possessed.
Yeah.
Ooh,
so then eventually she puts the car into park, turns the car off, and the car still is rolling backwards. And so her and her friend bail. They jump out of the car, right? And then it falls and like goes into the ditch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Right?
Yeah.
So like turn your car off and like put it in park.
And it's still
on a
rolling.
Flat surface.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. Yeah, it's basically what happened. Obviously a very negative spirit in that sense. I was thinking, I was like, I bet Lucinda is like welcoming towards men, but like angry towards women because she thought that her lover left her for someone else.
For like another woman.
Yeah.
I would have assumed it was the other way. I thought she would have been mad at men for like him standing her up, and
yeah.
then like more peaceful towards women because she like is a woman, I guess. I don't know, but I guess it makes sense too if she was like turned around and like blaming other women for him not showing up.
Yeah, I don't know, but that just seems to be the trend. If this guy had like such a positive, welcoming experience, and meanwhile she tried to kill these other two girls.
But it would align with like movies that are made in the early 2000s where like the women always blames
the other woman
that
for
the
men
guy's cheating on. Like, you stole him. It's like no responsibility for him at all.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyways, that was my first short story of Lucinda.
Good story. I like it.
Thanks.
Takes me back to our first date where my wagon wheel got stuck.
Yeah, I was waited several hours.
Just digging it out of the mud. Monsoon blew through. Terrible.
Back when we were first dating in the 1800s.
Yes, it feels like
we look great for our age, by the way.
What's she doing?
Nothing. I was just getting ready for your story.
Oh, you should.
Guys, I'm going to nail the soundboard this time. I know I had some rough patches in the last few episodes, but I swear I'm an expert now. I have every single one memorized.
She has been practicing all week. She's been in here. She has like flashcards, and I'll pull one up and I'll be like, Lady in White, hit it. Close. Still practicing. Still not the Lady in White. There she is. She's under the clapping.
Like I said, I have this memorized. Okay.
He's got it down.
Let's hear yours, because you said yours was a little bit longer.
I think so. My notes are long. We'll see if it turns out to be a long story or not.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So we're talking about Edinburgh Manor.
Edinburgh?
Edinburgh
Manor.
Like where my trainer's from.
What country is that?
Scotland.
Yep. Okay. So English, Scottish, whatever up there.
Scottish. He is in Scotland. So Edinburgh Manor, it is a very, I guess, pretty popular place, pretty famous place within the ghost hunting world.
Okay.
Zach Baggins and the Ghost Avengers guys.
Oh, I was supposed to guess on a 0 to Zach Baggins has been there scale.
I was going to say may or may not have. You get to not guess.
Yes, I think he was there.
You did it. Hit it. Oh, I think we're going for the claps, but okay. We're getting crickets.
I also don't know how to turn it off. Okay. Please continue.
Okay. Yes, but it has been investigated by Zach Baggins. And I will actually reference it later on. That's a cliffhanger. So before
I'm hooked.
She's hooked. Are you hooked?
Everyone's gone.
Everyone's ready to go. They're gone. This has been a mess. So we need to go back before the manor was actually built into 1850. So I guess the county that this is set in. Dog barking.
Ghost parks.
Ghost parks.
Okay.
And we're back from. No, we're not. And we're back. Our dog barked. So we're. There she is again. We're just going to keep going now. So okay, we have to go back to 1850. County bought a bunch of land. It was going to make this city here, Edinburgh. It was going to have it be like the seat of the county. So like Tucson's the seat for Pima County. So like where they put the courthouse, where they put the county buildings, things like that.
Yep.
That was going to be Edinburgh. And then they decided and they changed it somewhere else. So they're like, what are we going to do with this land that we have? So they built something called a poor farm.
A poor farm?
Yeah, they farm poors. Kidding. So it was
okay.
So you start like a farm, and the idea is if someone falls
poor people work at the farm.
Well, it's like a charitable thing. So if someone like their farm fails, they have a bad crop, things like that. So like if someone comes on hard time, they can go work there for food and lodging to avoid poverty and avoid like starvation.
Okay.
And I guess these were pretty popular back in that time. It was like basically the way for the government, the communities to support each other.
Okay.
And here, so it's intended to be, I think it was like, I'm sure they used the word lazy then differently, but like lazy, able-bodied people. So I think it's just, if you couldn't work, like you couldn't work your land, you could go there and you could work.
Okay.
However, the purpose kind of shifted over time to where they were taking in like elderly people, physically disabled people, and people with mental conditions. They would call them insane people. So like untreatably insane people. So the group of people there that was broadened. And naturally, it turns into kind of a difficult situation if you have people with like difficult mental disabilities being housed right next to an elderly person. Like the risk of violence and those kind of things can go up. So it was a pretty hard situation. But it did go on for a long time, or it operated for a long time in this sense. It operated until 1910 in its current state, and then it was kind of in a bad spot. So they shut it down, demolished everything, and built what is now the Edinburgh Manor.
Okay.
Which is like
in 1910.
1910.
Okay.
And it was like a big, pretty 2-story brick, kind of like you'd see in any like asylum kind of a thing from like the Midwest around that period, brick, Gothic kind of look to it. And it reopened in 1911 to house essentially the same thing. It didn't have like the work component, I don't think, at that point, but it did have, they took in disabled people, mentally handicapped people, things like that. And then operated all the way till 2010.
Oh, wow.
So it was open for a long time.
Okay.
But then by 2010, the county was like, this thing's in rough shape. We need to shut it down. Like it's not in a place to like house people anymore safely. But so it operated for a very long time.
100 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. In its current form. And before that, it was another 60 before that. So it was the land had been used for this purpose for a long time. I want to say like over 150 people passed away at this facility.
Oh, wow.
Over the course of that period. So
were they using like natural deaths or were there accidents?
A lot of people taking their own life, a lot of natural deaths. I'm sure, I don't know for sure, but you got people with difficult challenges well before the people understood them. So I'm sure there was also some violence like that. But so a lot of trauma in the situation. And not only that, but people use this facility as a way to, I guess, get rid of people that are difficult in their family. Yeah. So you have somebody you can't take care of them, you drop them off here, you never come back.
Yeah.
So a lot of people would get dropped off there and then they would pass away there and the families wouldn't know who to contact for the body. So they would just bury them on site.
That's sad.
Yeah. So if they knew who the family was, they would give the body back and then the family would come take it. But if not, they would bury them in the pauper's grave or pauper's cemetery is what they called it. So
you have like just the most joyful stories.
I always have very good ones. But yeah, needless to say.
Now that we're depressed.
Now that we're all depressed, let's keep moving. So yeah, just a lot of trauma there. And then the county shut it down very quickly. So the way it is today, actually there's still like a lot of like the original files and stuff there.
Oh, wow.
And like toys and like the original, they just kind of like shut it down.
Oh, they just like closed the doors and walked away?
Yeah, they just like transferred everybody who's still there to like a newer facility and like shut it down.
Whoa.
And then some people came in and bought it, the current owners. They were going to renovate it, I think turn it into an Airbnb or like a B&B and like, make it pretty. But they started the renovation work and there was just so much paranormal stuff going on that they're like, okay, we're not going to do that. Let's kind of like operate it, like let people come check this place out. So it's like a big place that people can go tour.
They're like, let's make money off this.
Yes.
Yep.
And you go in and you, I think you can stay the night there.
Okay.
They kind of like set you up and then so there's a lot of stuff online of people like recording their experiences there. So a lot of evidence online for this place. Google it. Very cool.
Let's hear it. I want to hear some of this evidence.
Yes. So, I mean, there's some general stuff that, giggling, footsteps, voices, that kind of a thing. A lot of just full body apparitions, shadows walking around and stuff like that.
FBAs.
Yeah. But more specifically, we'll start underground and work our way to this.
Oh, okay. So it has a basement.
It has a basement.
A dungeon.
We need a dungeon button.
I don't think we have a dungeon button.
We don't either, but maybe some chain and some like whoosh. See what she can find, everybody. Perfect. Okay. So starting in the basement, there's two like prominent male ghosts in the basement.
Okay.
The first one is more of a positive guy, or at least not a negative guy. It's a male figure, wears a brown cowboy hat and like a long duster.
Howdy, partner.
Howdy, partner. He's a tombstone ghost. But yeah, so he is presumably, if he was wearing this, it would have been from like the 1800s, late 1800s era to early 1900s, kind of before modernization. Back when people still wore this around regularly. I don't know.
Still wore this around? Like they don't wear cowboy hats anymore?
Not like in a duster. Most people wear cowboy hats are not cowboys. People who live in big cities trying to be cowboys. So person's in the basement, presumably been there for a while if they were, and that stuff. I don't know how they got there. They didn't have like a name for him, like an origin story, but people do see like this Old West cowboy guy down there.
He's wrangling some ghost cattle.
Yes, but he's seen mostly between noon and 2 p.m. So there's specific,
that's very specific.
very specific time period where he'll like pop up in the basement.
He's like, howdy, partner.
Howdy, partner. Just out the door.
He's like, oh, it's
lunch
that
break.
time again.
Yeah. That's when his shift is.
Did they have a paranormal coordinator there?
I'm sure they do. I think the owners, he's booked. We get Jeff in at 2.
Yeah. Oh, here I am again. All right.
His contracts. He's like, I only work noon to 2. But then the second most famous ghost on the property and the most negative is a ghost called the Joker. Ominous. The Joker. So
ominous noise.
Yes. So he's the most famous ghost. And he's what I think drew like the Zach Baggins crew in. Really big part of them was like trying to go after the Joker.
I don't know if I've seen this episode.
I don't think so, but we should watch it.
Okay.
But like his Batman counterpart, very negative. He will touch people and he will leave marks on people. He will people feel like they're being choked with like hands around their necks.
Ooh.
Yeah. And he'll like grab them and then like throw stuff. So he's been known to like break dishes. There's a dining room in the basement. Oh. And he'll like throw dishes across the room and like break them on the floor and stuff.
That's rude.
Yeah.
No wonder the other guy only wants to be there from 12 to 2. He's like, this guy's nuts.
He's like,
I got to work with this guy.
I work around his schedule.
He just like throw stuff.
He's like, no, he's a complete prima donna. But then I guess when the Ghost Hunters crew was doing like an EVP session in the basement, that you can see like a cup gets thrown across the room. So
that's real.
The Joker. Yep, when they're trying to communicate with him.
And, did they say why his name is the Joker? What era is he from?
Yes.
Is he also wearing a cowboy hat?
He is, because he is a very tall, very lanky, kind of like the Joker's drawn, and he has a very creepy smile when people see him.
Ew.
So he's like smiling all the time.
Ew.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, very creepy.
Okay.
But people down in the basement, they have trouble breathing. They'll feel like anxious and like oppressed, like a very negative spirit. And like I said, they get like marks on their neck.
Yeah.
He's seen there's no pads in the room anymore, but it was the padded room.
In the basement?
In the basement. And that's what they call, like that's where he hangs out, is the padded room for the most part.
Maybe that's where he spent time there.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. Is it said so that he was like a past resident?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I think I saw somewhere, I don't know like how accurate this was, but I think they think he was somebody who like took his life.
Oof.
But he'll also show up in pictures, but as like a distortion. So it's not like he shows up, but like he screws up your picture.
Oh.
So he causes like distortions in pictures that are taken in the basement, and they attribute those to him.
You said you don't have any examples?
Not on my computer, but
okay.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, so he's the worst ghost on site.
He sounds like the worst, to be honest.
Yep.
But he stays in the basement.
Yes, he seems to stay in the basement. He'll wander around the basement, but I don't see a mention of him upstairs anywhere.
Okay.
And as we go up, there's more positive spirits.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let's hear it.
So going up to the first floor, ground level now, is Susie. Seems like a playful girl spirit that you'll hear her like sing. She'll be giggling, laughing, just kind of like positive things, like running up and down the hallways.
Yeah, just like a happy, creepy child.
Yeah, like a happy, creepy child.
Just like the normal ghost, creepy child.
Normal ghost children. But she's seen mostly around room 106. She'll play with the toys in there and like physically interact with stuff.
Is she any like significant person, or was she just like I
don't think so.
Passerby?
I think they just named her Susie. I don't think they know she's like specifically.
Have a steamboat?
She does not have a steamboat. Well, maybe. I mean, Mississippi,
I guess so.
You come from a family of like.
Yes. Now that I'm picturing
riverboat.
Iowa.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. A family of steamboat barons from the Golden Robber Baron.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I saw that. I don't know if it was an EVP session or if it was like a psychic or something, but apparently someone had asked like how she got there. And then she said, just dropped off here. So like, she got like dropped off. I don't know.
That's sad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Her parents just dropped her and left her.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least she's having a good time.
Yeah, at least people are nice to her. So that's good. And then also on the first floor is a male spirit, room 121. He also ended his own hands, apparently in a closet, like a janitor's closet that was nearby. So he'll be in 121.
He hung himself in the janitor's closet?
Yeah. But people report feeling bad feelings around that closet. But I don't see anything like malevolent, like the Joker in the basement.
Jeez.
Not like being like.
So they just like bad aura, closet aura. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see anything like getting stuff thrown at you or marked up or anything like that.
Yeah.
So moving up again to the second floor now. So top level. There's a lot of activity up here. Hit the lady in white button.
Wait.
There we go.
Almost.
The lady in white. So it wouldn't be an episode if I didn't have the lady in white.
Yeah. What's she up to now? This girl's also a jet setter. She is everywhere all at once.
Oh, she's at every haunted location that we've ever talked about. Yes. Oh, okay. Whoa. We'll finish this. Okay. So lady in white. So she is seen on the top of the staircase going up to the second floor.
Okay.
People see her there often. She'll also see her like a white mist against the ceiling. But yeah, classic lady in white dress, hanging out as she does.
Just everywhere. On the stairs.
Primarily around the staircase.
Well, she only goes up. She never goes
I think she's at the top. She doesn't come down.
She's like, ooh, I don't know about down there.
But weird coincidence. She only hangs out, again, you see her noon to 2. So there's something about noon to 2 at this location.
I was just going to make a workforce management joke, but I'm not going to do that. She clocks in, she clocks out.
Yep.
Her and the cowboy maybe go get lunch afterwards.
Maybe they're married. That's just like their work. They joint working session. Like, this is when we perform, then we're done.
That's crazy though, that like 12 to 2, that's like the least haunting hours you would think.
It's like midday.
Yeah.
People eat like your lunch.
Normally it's like, oh, all the spooky stuff happens at midnight or like when the lights go out. But they're like, nope. Now when sun is full overhead, that's when the ghosts come out. Yeah.
Like the cowboy sound.
Yep.
Anyway, so speaking of ladies in whites.
Oh, I just got this. You did it so well. I wasn't able to immediately identify the tune.
Yes, I'm very spot on with my. Thank you. Yes, we'll play it over now. I'm sure you can get it free online.
Okay, continue.
But my grandma last night telling us about when she saw a lady in white.
Yeah.
How about that, Grandma?
Was it in Iowa?
It was in Arizona.
Okay. I don't know why you just brought that up then.
Well, it's just everywhere. Everyone's seen ladies in white.
Oh yeah, she's everywhere. We've seen her.
We've seen lady in white. My grandma's seen lady in white.
Yeah.
She's here. She's everywhere. We talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I just realized I had written in my notes a joke to loop in Disney, like our Disney reference.
Let's hear it.
I think I missed it.
All right. If you want to skip, starting now, he's going to have a really bad Disney joke.
Really bad Disney joke.
We'll insert the timestamp for when you can skip to ignore this part.
Going back to when I talked about people getting buried on site.
Yeah.
In my notes, I called it on property. Because on Disney, like people are always trying to put ashes. Okay. Okay. Going back now to the ghosts, what people are here for. There's also apparently a fire truck toy that gets left in room 204. And like some child entity or whatever will play with the fire truck toy in that room. And then it'll also like be moved to other rooms. So if you move back 204, it'll go to other rooms.
He's like, stop moving my stuff, Mom.
Yeah. So it moves around the second floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does it make any noises or anything, or is it just a fire truck?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just a lot of like residual haunt reportings on the second floor. Like a lot of shadow figures like going down hallways in between rooms. So it's like people kind of either reliving their lives there or their, whatever their work days, they spent their whole life there. So
makes sense. The second floor seems a lot busier than the other two.
Yeah, it seems like it as far as like just day-to-day residual haunting kind of stuff. So I think a lot of people were staying up there. And so there's just a lot of like residual energy stuff going on.
Okay.
And then there's because this place was open for so much investigation, I found a couple of people on Reddit who had been there and investigated it and had some cool stories.
Let's hear the Redditors.
So people on Reddit confirming a lot of the stuff that I've read on other websites. People recorded voice talking overnight on their cameras, so they'll set up like a static cam, and then it'll pick up. The one I saw was like, it sounded like saying like, oh my God, oh my God. And so people were debating in the comments whether it was like other people on like the site doing stuff, but then everyone's
other people on the site,
like other people, people staying on.
Okay,
other investigators.
Got it.
But they're like, no, we're the only ones there. That's what you pay for.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was like, that's a weird like group haunting.
Yeah, it was like very clear audio.
Whoa. Yeah. Was it a woman's voice or a man's?
It was like kind of like a young person or a woman.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then people they pick up like when they're doing the recordings, they'll hear like footsteps, they'll hear audible voices, strange electronic issues. So like classic, my thing was charged and it drained the battery in 10 minutes.
That happens so much. Like almost every investigator that we see, whether it's amateur investigators or the pros, everyone always says, my batteries were fully charged and now they're zero, or the camera will just die randomly.
Which like I've never experienced. So it's weird that it happens on ghosted things because like I've never had like a flashlight die right away after I changed. Like if I knew the batteries are fresh, or like I've never had like my phone, assuming it's not like really old, just go like dead all of a sudden, or the camera we're using just die all of a sudden,
Yeah.
So
weird.
Yeah.
Wait, what was that episode where it was like, I don't even know where we were watching, where it was like the electricity, it's sucking it from. Who was that?
That was Ghost Hunters.
Ghost Hunters.
But like it was clearly like it was like electric, something tripping is a light.
Yeah, like it was very clearly the electrical, and he's like, it's sucking the energy from my camera.
And I think the electrician is like, no, it's like this, and then
it's like, no,
he's like, but it could have been Ghost, right? And the guy's like, I guess.
Oh yeah, they call it the electrician, and he's like, it could have definitely been Ghost. He's like, yeah, but it's more likely the breaker.
Yeah,
he's like, but it could have been.
It could have been Ghost. Like, it's like, I guess.
I suppose. Like, confirmed.
Confirmed. Thank you. But yeah, they, dead batteries, and some percent count like where they had like a two-way radio that they use, I think, while they're investigating. One was off and charging without the battery was out and it was charging. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was like clicking, like someone was trying to talk from the other one. Yeah. It was creepy.
I don't like that.
Yeah. But then I thought this was interesting. So it's a little blurb I saw on Reddit from Cut to the Chase 56. They were in a thread talking about the Ghost Adventures episode and how funny it was. Like one of the Ghost Adventures guys was like screaming in the basement. Mm-hmm. And I guess someone made like a joke about how it sounded. But then the response was, I used to think it was hilarious too until I investigated the manor for myself last summer. In reality, I honestly admire Billy's courage for even being able to visit that basement alone. It's by far the most haunted place I've ever been.
Oh my gosh.
And you couldn't pay me to go down there by myself. After a night of constant voices, moving objects, and physical touches, I wasn't too keen on going anywhere by myself, let alone the capital of Creepyville. Props to him.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool.
That's wild. Now I want to watch that episode even more.
But that was my story.
There's a lot going on in that
there's
one.
a lot
also
of
like very interesting history.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I guess these like poor farms were super common across the US.
I mean, it makes sense to give people a way to make a living, to feed them and house them.
And by working, they probably made a lot of the food that they were eating that people would eat the next year. And
wow. Yeah. That was a good one. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right, this last one is, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to pronounce it. The Axe Murder House.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
Villisca? Let
me see it. Looks close to me.
Okay. It's in, of course, Villisca, Iowa. It's a picture. It's like a cutesy house. If there's a photo, I'll insert it here off the internet. But it's a cute little house. So cute.
A little murder house.
It's a little murder house. It was the Moore residence. That was a family that lived there at the time. So this occurred, oh my gosh, I don't even have a year. Okay. Oops, that's my bad. Okay, June 10th.
June 10th, all right.
Is when this happened. Like, in the olden times.
June 10th of that year.
Okay. Let's see. So what happened was there was two parents. There was 4 children.
Okay.
And then those
1912.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And then those olden times.
Yeah.
And then the 4 children had 2 friends over.
Okay.
So it's a total of 2 adults and 6 children in this house when this occurred. Okay. So basically the children and the whole family went for like a children's day program. I think it's like, I don't know, some sort of summer camp situation where the whole family goes and the children have fun doing stuff.
Okay.
And they ended up returning home that evening around 10 p.m. The next morning, the neighbors were concerned because the family wasn't out and about doing their normal chores. I guess they had like chickens and stuff that they needed to take care of, and they weren't doing it. And so the neighbors knocked on the door, didn't hear anything. They went around, like let the chickens out, like started doing some of their chores for them. And they had a key. So they eventually went back and got a key and opened up the house. And what they found was awful. It turns out that everyone was murdered.
That's wild.
Via axe, the axe house. So the 2 adults were murdered first with like regular axe style. It was Josiah and Sarah. He was 48. She was 39. I guess Josiah got like the brunt of it where he like really got bashed in. But they killed the killer or killers, killed Josiah, killed Sarah with like the sharp part of the axe. Then they went and found the other 4 children, their children, and killed all of them with the axe with the other side of the axe, not the metal, like the wooden handle side, like bludgeoned them to death. Gosh. Yeah. And then after that, they went back to the main bedroom and like hacked at Josiah and Sarah some more before then going to the last bedroom that had the 2 visiting children and killed them too.
That is terrible. That's like it's an insane.
So awful.
And to like not like who could have? You know
just
what I mean?
Wait, just wait. Okay. So the doctors come in. They like find this whole situation. The neighbors immediately call, like, it said a peacemaker. I think that's like a cop or something.
It's probably like the sheriff equivalent or something.
Anyways, they searched the whole house. They obviously found all the dead family members. And the doctors said that the murder took place between midnight and 5 a.m. And it was suspected that whoever murdered them came into the house while they were at that children's day program.
Oh, geez.
Stayed there because in the attic they found cigarettes that didn't belong to the family. Yeah. They were waiting for them to get back. In the attic they found cigarettes. And it looks like, I said that they first killed the parents. And poor Josiah, they found not only like obviously he was like killed, but they also found in the ceiling where they threw the axe like back to really. Oh. There was like holes in the ceiling from the back of the axe. The backswing, thank you, of the axe. Which was awful. And what was really strange was that every mirror in the house was covered either with blankets or clothing. And so these people went through went through the house and like went in their dressers and took their clothes to like hang it and cover all the mirrors in the house.
So bizarre.
Very bizarre. With clothes or blankets. So after like the doctors and the police did their initial walkthrough, I guess they made an announcement to the neighborhood that like there's a murderer on the loose kind of announcement. And somehow that meant all the neighbors went to like the murder house and just like stormed the murder house.
For what purpose?
I don't know, but they apparently like just like stormed it and were looking through all of like their stuff. And apparently they took like pieces of Josiah's skull as like souvenirs.
It wasn't even like, we're going to find who did this. It was like,
they're like, oh, let's go like, tour this. Let's an open house for this murder that happened literally an hour, hours ago.
Keepsakes of the murder.
Yeah.
That's so
crazy. And so obviously like the whole murder scene was like totally contaminated. Do you know what I mean? And eventually they had to bring in the National Guard to like block off people from getting into this house.
That's insane.
Right?
I mean, to like, I mean, I can't imagine. I can see that happening today. Not like, I mean, like just like the amount of people, you know what I mean? Like someone really
depressing.
famous gets killed.
Yeah.
You probably like block off the block, or else like people are going to be like, oh, I need to go get,
Yeah.
like see what happened for myself.
Yeah.
And like,
But it was so bad. They had to bring in the National
that
Guard.
is crazy.
Anyways, so unfortunately, this whole murder scene is like totally contaminated and they're not able to find who did it, basically. They had like a whole list of suspects that I went through in my research. There was a couple that were like very interesting that I'll touch on. There was a Reverend George Kelly. Apparently, he fled the city between 5 a.m., just hours after before the bodies were found. And he ended up confessing to the murders in trial, but the jury didn't believe him.
Why?
Because he was crazy. Apparently, he became obsessed with this incident and started like writing letters to the police, trying to like portray details that prove that it was him who did it. And so they tried him again, and he confessed again, but he was acquitted because people just thought that he was like insane.
So he's like, no, seriously, I killed all these people.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you didn't. You're crazy.
Yeah, but
like,
he also sounds a little bit crazy. Like he went a little like nutty over it, because I'm not sure everything that he shared with the police was factual.
Oh, so it might have just been like, that's very weird. Why
it was
would you want
very weird.
Because whoever got convicted would have been for sure put to death
Yeah.
themselves.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Like, why would he push so?
I don't know. That was very odd. Another one was William. His name is William, quote, insane Blackie, end quote, Mansfield.
Pantsfield?
Mansfield.
Oh, Mansfield. I was in Pantsfield. I'm like, that's
insane Blackie Mansfield. But apparently there were other similar murders that occurred, very similar styles, like covering the windows with clothes. There was something about leaving a burning lamp somewhere. Apparently that happened in that original murder and these other ones that I'm talking about. In Illinois and Colorado Springs, there was two similar ones. So
it might be like a serial killer
situation. Yeah. But one of the restaurant owners in, where is this place? Villisca, said that they saw him leaving that morning. That he saw him boarding a train after the murders, and the man said that he had walked from that town. But apparently he had an alibi that he was in Virginia at the time of these murders. So nothing ended up there. And then another one, there was a Paul Mueller. He's a serial killer. It's said to be that maybe this was part of like a much larger serial killing spree that included the Colorado Springs, the Illinois, and this one that murdered a total of 59 people on 14 separate incidents. But again, there wasn't like enough to prove that it was related to that either. End of the day, they never found out who did it.
That's crazy. This has to be like some sort of serial killer situation, because like typically when people get murdered, like it's like there's like a point.
Yeah.
Like it's either like, you know, money or something. But this is clearly like someone who just wants to like is just crazy and wants to kill a bunch of people, and it's not like they didn't have a point to it.
Yeah.
You know, so it has to be part of a larger crime thing.
Yeah. Maybe they saw them leave and then went into the house, hung out. Yeah, awful. Anyways, they never found who did it. But as you can imagine, this place is super haunted.
One would imagine.
So it's very famous. A woman named Martha Lynn bought the house in 1994 and it restored it to its original 1912 condition. It's a tourist attraction today, and you can actually like stay there overnight. Oh, which is crazy.
I'm not sure about that.
Do not want to do that, but you can. So one very interesting piece that happened on someone who stayed overnight was awful. In 2014 at 12:45 a.m., which is about the time that maybe these murders took place, a guy who was visiting there inexplicably stabbed himself in the chest.
Oh, that's just...
He was by himself. He like did it himself. And called his friends found him or whatever and called the cops, and he had to go to the hospital, and it was like really bad. Did
he have like an explanation?
Supposedly, of course, he was like possessed by the spirits or whatever.
That's a wild...
that they made him do that.
Coincidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
so just like a totally normal guy, just like accidentally stab yourself. And like in the chest, you're not even trying to kill yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. We'll cut all this stuff out that's not appropriate for YouTube. Anyways, so in general, they hear disembodied voices, whispers, shadowy figures, objects moving on their own, children laughing because all the children that were there. And there's also, when you visit, there's a corkboard on the outside of the house that has photos that I'll include that here if I can. But it has photos of all the ghosts that they've captured in that house.
Okay.
Some pretty cool photos. But also there was a lot of more formal investigations for this place. Ghost Adventures, BuzzFeed Unsolved has been there.
I remember seeing that one.
Yeah, we'll watch it again. And Sam and Colby too. But there was a Reddit story that was pretty crazy. So this guy said upon walking in the door, instantly the smiles and like happy feelings of him and his friends who were staying there for the night like went away. And the three of them instantly started crying.
Oh, that's
and these
weird.
are like three grown men. He's like, I'm not one to cry, but all of us just immediately started crying. And there was like a sadness that filled them deeply. It was some kind of energy, not necessarily anger or malice, but that sadness. He's reported that his shirt was tugged a few times. In the kid's bedroom, he rolled a toy ball. The ball, it was like a level room. He rolled the toy on the room. It rolled away from him. It stopped, and then it rolled back to him, which is weird. And it was completely flat. Eventually, one of his friends just got so freaked out by all the incidents that like they were experiencing that he just gave up and spent the rest of the night like in the barn outside.
Oh,
because he was too scared.
Good choice.
But yeah, it was a pretty devastating story. It's wild that no one actually caught them.
Yeah.
And obviously it makes complete sense that there would be so much residual energy in this place.
Yeah, there's a lot of like weird after effects too. Like not only the event itself, but then you have like the pastor who's like trying to confess who can't get convicted, and then you got like the guy who stabbed himself in the chest.
Yeah,
it's just
a lot of bad energy. So maybe, you know, in modern times it could have solved it, but back then not so much.
Yeah. Crazy.
Anyway, sorry to end on a depressing note. It was too famous. I could not cover it. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Talk about that one.
Go check out all the other content on it. But that's Iowa for you, man.
Yeah, we'll be enjoying.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah, crazy.
What's next time?
Iowa, maybe Idaho.
Sounds right.
Probably Idaho.
Cool.
Yeah.
So stay tuned until that one, guys.
Yeah.
We're just about at time. So thanks for listening. If you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
And until then, keep collecting.
Keep collecting.
Don't forget to stay spooky.
Stay spooky.
Bye.